In a quiet corner of the city, there was a retirement home named Sunset Meadows. It was a peaceful place, but for many residents, the days could feel long and monotonous. That all changed when Clara started volunteering. She wasn't a nurse or a therapist. She was a reader. Every Tuesday and Thursday, she would settle into a comfortable armchair in the common room, open a book, and let her voice transport her audience to another world. Clara had a gift. Her voice could paint pictures, bringing characters to life and making landscapes bloom in the minds of her listeners. The residents adored her. They'd gather around, some closing their eyes to better savor the story, others watching her, captivated by the passion in her expression. She read classics, mysteries, and sweeping romances. For those few hours, the aches and pains of old age seemed to fade away, replaced by the magic of a well-told tale. Among her regular listeners was a man named Arthur. He was a retired history professor, a man of quiet dignity with eyes that held a universe of stories of their own. Unlike the others who chatted before and after the readings, Arthur always sat slightly apart, a small, pensive smile on his lips. He never spoke to Clara, but she felt his gaze, an intense, appreciative focus that made her feel truly heard. She started choosing her books with him in mind, picking historical novels and biographies, hoping to catch a spark of recognition in his eyes. One afternoon, after finishing a particularly moving chapter from a novel set in post-war Paris, Clara looked up, and her eyes met Arthur's. He gave her a slow, deliberate nod, a gesture so full of understanding and gratitude that it made her heart skip a beat. The next week, as she was packing up her books, she found a small, folded note on her chair. It was from Arthur. His handwriting was elegant, a relic from another era. The note simply said, "Your voice is the loveliest music I've ever heard. Thank you." Clara was touched beyond words. She began looking forward to her reading sessions, not just for the love of the stories, but for the silent connection she shared with Arthur. She started arriving a little earlier, hoping for a chance to speak with him. One day, she found him waiting for her, holding a worn copy of Pride and Prejudice. He said, "I was hoping perhaps you might consider reading this one next. It was my late wife's favorite." His voice was soft, but steady. That was the beginning of their conversations. They talked about books, about history, about life. Clara learned about his travels, his love for teaching, and the wife he had adored for 50 years. Arthur learned about Clara's dream of being an actress, a dream she'd set aside to raise her family. They discovered a shared world between the pages of the books she read, a world where their own stories began to intertwine. The other residents noticed the change. They saw the way Arthur's eyes lit up when Clara walked in, the way she would glance at him during a particularly romantic passage. A new story was unfolding at Sunset Meadows, one that wasn't written in any of Clara's books. It was a story of two people finding an unexpected chapter in their lives, a chapter filled with companionship and a quiet, blossoming love. Clara came to the retirement home to read stories aloud, but in doing so, she found her own beautiful story, one where a gentle, history-loving listener had completely stolen her heart. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves a good tale. We'll see you in the next video.